All right, let's jump right into it. So we're going to talk about Trevor Zegras, everyone's favorite new player. He's a pretty polarizing, to be honest, because he is a very crafty. He's very talented. Honestly, we saw him do the lacrosse goal, Michigan goal. He saw that flip over the net goal with Sonny Milano when he was with the Ducks last year. But let's talk about his contract and what we can look to see and speculate what Zegers should be getting on his next contract, being that he is currently on an ELC and still performing at quite a high level. So let's jump over to it real quick. We got Trevor Zegers right here. So we'll jump over to his cap friendly page right here. So his cap friendly currently, so you can see, is on an ELC. So that means ELC, and he has an RFA status that is restricted free agent status, and so this is after this year is done, he will have to be signing another contract, and currently there is not a contract in place for him that is signed. So I want to look at some of the qualities that Trevor Zegras plays, or the position that he plays and what he does in the game, and how that's going to affect his contract and everything. So let's jump over real quick. We're going to look at his stats just so you get a good comparison. So you can see right here, I'm going to look at only his NHL results, right? Because that's what we're going to be basing around this. So you're looking at the 122 points in the last 157 games, and you can see he's actually performing at a pretty good pace right now. First season with the Ducks, half a point per game. Last year did well, 61 points in 75 games, and mostly on the assist side. And same thing with this year, 48 points, 58 games, so even better production, more penalty minutes, but mind you, the Ducks are not doing very good, so he's performing pretty well on a team that is not doing well overall. Mind you, he has the 9th overall as well, 2019, so I'm using some of the younger contracts to compare, and unfortunately there's not a good enough comparison on their center. Actually, there is one, but we'll go over that in a second. So I want to go over someone that is I'm going to go a similar position, but there's a lot of talks about his contract as well, and we're going to jump over to Cole Caulfield. So Cole Caulfield, again, we'll jump over to his DB page, or his cap friendly page. Again, another contract that was not talked about, or has been talked about a bunch, and he talked about it being around $8 million, right? So I imagine they're going to try and sign him for 8 years, $8 million. Cole Caulfield is a darling. He's adorable, and he's been playing very well when he is in the lineup. He doesn't have a tendency to get hurt. And mind you, one of the other things, that the reason that Cole Caulfield will be getting probably around $8 million is because he is a goal scorer, and goal scorers get paid a little bit more. You're looking at Alex Ovechkin as a goal scorer, right? So he gets paid a little bit more because goals are more valuable than assists in the hockey league. So you can see right here, 26 goals, 10 assists, 36 points in 46 games. This is a great improvement this year, and Montreal is not a great team, by the way. Notice you're going to see a theme. These teams are not in the bottom half typically, because these are the better players that they're getting drafted. You can see 15 overall. So these are better players that are getting drafted because they're higher up in the draft, right? And actually, this is also the same draft. So this is actually, think about it this way, that the Canadians actually passed over, or Canadians were not able to draft Zegras because the Ducks came first in the draft. So with that, you can see Cole Caulfield. So he's going to get around $8 million, and that's significant. You can see right here in his cap status right here. Right there, you can see he's currently getting that right now, which is good, but $8 million. But mind you, the difference is that Cole Caulfield plays a wing position, right? He is a right winger, shoots right, but he is not a center. And centers we all know, are much highly more valuable in the league. You're looking at Stamkos, you're looking at McDavid, you're looking at McKinnon. McKinnon now being the highest paid player in the league at 12.6. You're looking at Austin Matthews, 10.5, right? So there's a lot of people that are centers are more highly valuable because they're more versatile, and there's a lot more expected of them because they're expected to lead the line, and a lot more responsibility because you're going up and down the ice. You're expected to be a two-way person, two-way player, right? That's why you see most Selke players are centermen, right? Patrice Bergeron, right, as well. So you're looking at around $8 million for that, which is great. And then so I'm going to look at our first contract that was signed outside. So we're going to look at Dylan Cousins right here. So Dylan Cousins is playing for the Buffalo Sabres. He was at the end of this year needed a new contract because he was going to come up. He was an RFA. And he got signed on February 7th recently. So this was within the last couple of weeks. He got signed, and he does a 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7.1 by 7. Now, the thing about Dylan Cousins is he does play center. You can we'll scroll up here. You can see he's a center and a left winger. Oh, can't go there because that is NHL. I don't want to get demonetized. Oh, not that I'm making money off this, but you don't want to get demonetized by having NHL content on there. So, anyways, he signed a 7x7 or 7.1 by 7 years. So this is a good starting point because he is a center. He is a very highly valued player. And I believe he was, let's go look at where he was drafted just to give you an idea. First round, of course, looks like 7th overall. So again, a high pick. This is the 29th. So this is actually what the Ducks picked over. They actually picked Dylan Cousins over Trevor Zegras. But we know that Trevor Zegras has the flair right now. He's a very popular player, and Dylan Cousins is not as popular yet because the Buffalo Sabres are not there yet. They're almost there. They're a very exciting team. I'm a Red Wings fan. So they're in a similar position as the Red Wings where they're still rebuilding, and they're in the middle of rebuild, and they're doing a very good job with it. They have a ton of depth in every area in their prospect pool, and I'm really excited to see how the Buffalo comes out of this rebuild, and I think they're going to be a real true rival in the Atlantic for the Red Wings. So again, we're looking at 7.1 million AAV over 7 years. I think they should have tried to get that 8th year, but we'll see. It's unfortunate for Kevin Adams here, but give him to lock him up and get him locked down, honestly. So again, we're going to jump over to another player that is another center in Timmy Stützle. Okay, we're looking at Timmy Stützle playing. So mind you, I looked at, if we jump over to Trevor Zegras quick, if you see this 122 points in 157 games, it's actually a 0.77 points per game rate, which is a great rate for a player like Tim Stützle, where he's still up and coming, right? So when you jump over to Zegras. Stützle is a 146, 184 games. That's a 0.79 points per game. Again, but he is a left winger, okay? And it was drafted the year after Zegras as well. So Zegras has had a little bit more, should have had more time, but he spent more time with the Gulls. As we can jump over here, you can see he's spent some time with the Gulls here, and played a little bit between for Anaheim Ducks as well. So, but again, Zegras is just a tad older. So you can see 21 years old, born March 20th. Stützle. Oh, actually, Stützle's actually a little bit old. No, older. Oh, it's a year difference. Anyways, but so what we're seeing is that the reason I'm showing Timmy Stützle, again, another younger player where the Ottawa Senators locked him up. We jump over to his cap-friendly page, which I thought I had up, but I guess I do not. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So here it is right here. So you have Tim Stützle's new contract that he got signed early in the year. Actually, you can see September 7th, right around the start of the year. He has, again, a left winger, right? So he's a left winger, so he is not a center, but he's getting paid $8.35, right? Now, what you're doing is the reason you're signing these giant contracts. So I'm going to give you a comparison in Dylan Cousins. Dylan Cousins, again, center, more premium position, but they did not sign him for that 8th year. So they're saying, okay, well, if you don't sign that 8th year, we're going to give you less money. And so if you are willing to sign with a team for long term, they're willing to give you more money because they're like, hey, like, we can give you this 8th year. We can guarantee this money for a longer period of time, right? Because now this extra year that he didn't get, that Cousins didn't get, it's now going to say, okay, well, maybe he gets hurt. Maybe he doesn't not able to play after 2030, right? So locking up the 8th year is important for the team, and in my opinion, important for the player as well. But now Dylan Cousins, because he doesn't get that 8th year, if he is dynamite, let's say he is just killing the league, and he wants to, it's a 5-team no trade list as well. So, that's funny. 5 teams is so small. It seems like why would you have it in there? There's only 5 teams you don't want to go to. That leaves the other 26, right? Plus Ottawa open, but the 8th year allows the team to pay you a little more. and guarantee you. Now, again, like I was saying, if Dylan Cousins says, hey, I'm doing phenomenal, I want to go to the market, I want to see what the market's going to pay me, he can probably demand a little bit more at that point. So it is, again, that's a 7-year contract, and at this time, he is 22 years old, so he'll be 29 right before 30 years old, so he'll be in the middle of his prime, which will be exciting to see what he does with this. So I think that the Ducks, because of the trajectory that they're on, they have a ton of young players. I'm thinking, in my opinion, because of the way that Zegras is playing, he's playing very well. Again, center premium position. I'm gonna guess 8 years, 8.5. That is my opinion. My apologies. 8.5, 8 years by 8.5. So 8 years by 8.5 million AAV. I think that's the most appropriate, right? Again, you were paying a little bit more than Stützle. They're at a similar pace, but I am giving that little extra bump. So you can Stützle again playing a similar points percentage, jumping over to Stützle's cap friendly. Again, getting 8.35, and I'm gonna build it the same way that the Ottawa Senators did for Timmy Stützle. I'm gonna give Zegras a 4 years. No modified no trade clause, right? And then a modified no trade clause on the second half. Again, 8.5, just because he plays a more premium position of center. But again, you're playing for potential. We think he's going to be good. We think he's going to stay healthy. He does play a rougher game. I'm going to use Timmy Stützle as another one again because they're so similar in their point production. You can see he's got 38 or 89 penalty minutes in 184 games. You can see Zegras 126. So he's got about 50% more penalty minutes than Tim Stützle in less games. So just give you a perspective that he is in the box more, which makes him not able to put points on the board, right? And it shows a little more aggression, right? So you're now taking some value away. So I think 8.5 is a very appropriate number for Zegras, and I think he would thrive on a team like that. And honestly, as a leader on that team, which we know he is, because Zegras is a big personality, we've seen his antics that we talked about with. So I'm not going to name the player, but we've seen it. He's a leader. He's a leader in the locker room, whether he wants or not. He's going to be a leader. So 8.5 million over 8 years makes the most sense for the Ducks as well as Trevor Zegras. So let me know what your thoughts are. Comment, like, subscribe. And let me know if you disagree with me. I think I'm right in this. I think 8.5 makes sense. I think it's a good baseline. We know Jack Hughes is about another young center making $8 million over 8 years, and it's Jack Hughes. He's a first overall pick. I think that's a sweetheart deal. I think they did such a good job with that. I think that he took a discount. In my opinion, he could have took it probably around 9.5, probably actually closer to 9. So I would say 9 makes more sense because it's team friendly enough. But he took 8, which is even less than he had to, because he knows he wants to go out there and win. So, anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Like, subscribe, hip check that like. Hey, hockey terms. Anyways, love you.